Whatever I am, I leverage my gifts, what God has given me for the success of this church and its mission. The mission is to make much of Jesus and to make disciples. You'll be at a crossroads sometimes, whether you're going to leverage yourself for the success of the mission of the church, or you're going to leverage the church or the mission for the building of yourself, okay? And you can't do both. The risk is for a pastor or someone else that leading a ministry to say, well, I'm going to leverage this ministry as a platform for me, or, to raise up me and look at, all that I'm doing. No. You leverage your gifts, your abilities, what God's given you for the lifting up of Christ's church and his mission, because it's all about the mission. It's all about the mission. I had another pastor friend say one time, he says, if we're at peacetime, you can do what you want, but we're at wartime. The war is, we're at war for the souls of mankind. And so we don't have time to do anything else but be about the mission. The mission to make much of Christ and to make disciples in his name. That's it. That's all that we get to do. That's all that we need to do. There's nothing greater than that. And so be about his mission and leverage yourself and your time and abilities for the mission of Christ. And don't worry about the accolades. I tell people all the time, it's a good day not to be famous in Baptist world. It's just great not to be famous. Don't be famous, Every generation has felt like Christ could come back at any moment. And I think there's a lot of great wisdom in that. Now, one day, one of these generations is going to be correct, right? If he wasn't coming, ministers and people, people could do what they want. But if there's daylight and we know night is coming, then we must work while we have the light. Because one day we won't be able to work anymore. So today is the day for us to do work for his kingdom. If the owner of the house knew the day or the hour the thief was coming, he'd be ready. But we got to be ready every day. There was a book when I was graduating high school said called 88 Reasons Why Christ is Coming Back in 1988. I mean, you can get that for like a dime on Amazon right now if you use copy. It's out of print, of course. But even the early apostles thought that Christ was likely to come back in their lifetime. We know that. And we see through every generation. Can you imagine 75, 80 years ago, World War II? Everybody thought, well, this is it. This is Armageddon. This is the end. But here we are 80 years later, still here. So, but there's wisdom in that. You tell your kids to do something and they know you're going to be gone for 2 hours. They're not going to do it. I wouldn't, right? But if they know they're coming back any minute, they're going to be about that business. They're going to get that job done. There's wisdom in that. If I had to mention one danger that people get into the ministry are susceptible to, I would say insecurity. We're at war for the souls of mankind, okay? We've got to make much of Jesus and make as many disciples as we can. So it's kind of a war mentality. I get people to imagine that you're part of an army troop, If you had to choose between a mean leader or an insecure leader, now neither one of them are great, but I promise you, choose the mean leader, all right? At least you know where you're going and what you need to be doing, okay? The insecure leader, unpredictable. Don't get too starry-eyed for a ministry or something that you think, wow, I've platformed myself here or whatever, because with that could come some legitimate fear. And there's some fear inherent with all ministry, but the overwhelming fear that breeds insecurity. In other words, I don't know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, whatever. And that's a nightmare for you. That's a nightmare for everybody on your team. That's a nightmare for the ministry and the church. Be who you are. Be secure. Realize the capacity of your own leadership, because that that insecurity is a detriment to you and the ministry. And by the way, don't be a mean leader either.